Good morning, everyone in our Karma world, or afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. Back here in England now. Weather's got a bit colder than my last 2 months in Europe, but a tremendous 2 months. Partly going around our various resorts and partly enjoying some family time and some time off, which I try and do every year in Europe. And coming back to England, it's very hard to believe that COVID is still going on. I mean, it's unbelievable, the differences in different countries. I mean, here I am in England. Came back yesterday. I went to lunch as normal. There's no masks, no social distancing. I'm going to go today to the races at Ascot and tomorrow to the cricket at the Oval. See England hopefully beat India. Sorry, my Indian friends. But there's no restrictions on crowds and life just feels back to normal. And at the same time, clearly, I have to get on the phone to my managers in Indonesia, where it's still locked down and most of our resorts are shut, and my friends and my daughter in Australia, who I haven't seen for 2 years, which is obviously ridiculously locked down. And it's so hard to really view this because so many countries have a different situation. But I do think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I do think we're getting through it, and we are going forward. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But I wanted to touch base on a few things, and particularly on this edition, which is number 88. And 88 is a very powerful number for us, and myself in particular. You may know that in Chinese numerology, it's a very lucky number. 8 is deemed to be the number of prosperity, success, money, good luck, what have you. And 88 means double luck, so it's very valuable. And I only realized this many years ago when we opened our first office up in Singapore. It must have been about 26 years ago, I suppose, or 27 years ago. And totally blindly, without understanding where the office was or the relevance of it, our agent ended up offering us an office at 88 Amoy Street in Chinatown. And we moved in, and people we met from Singapore and Chinese people couldn't believe our luck to have number 88 in Chinatown. And indeed, it was a very successful office and a very successful operation. And it was in the very early days of our business. And then when I started an internet account, as you know, you're often offered a choice of numbers. And it was 88 by random. When I went to Australia and I bought a car when I was there about 25 years ago, the number plate that came with it was 88. Recently, my daughter has moved to Paris, my younger daughter, to study at the university there. And we rented her an apartment, and totally unknown to us, it was number 88. So anyway, I've always been blessed with 88. I've always been blessed with good luck. And so I thought it'd be good to speak to you on our 88th edition of this, because clearly I think there's going to be some good luck. So what's happening? Well, we've got a couple of new resorts. I think you know about both of them, but just to give you a little bit more information on them. Garcin is in the south of Spain. It's behind Marbella in Andalusia. It's beautiful. I mean, it's very special for me because I started my career in this industry back in 1984 in Spain, in Marbella, and I lived there for many years. For 9 years, our company that I worked for was based there. So I've got a lot of friends, a lot of history, and I've always wanted a resort there. So it's slightly personal, but I think you'll love it. I mean, the Costa del Sol is a lot of fun. It's got obviously the big hotels. It's got the beaches. It's got the nightlife. It's got all the restaurants and all the glitz you expect of somewhere like that. But you only have to go half an hour behind the Costa del Sol and you get to the real Andalusia, of which Garcin is one of the most stunning villages. It's called a Pueblo Blanco, which means a white village. And it really is that Disney picture postcard village that sits on the side of the hill, which is glazed blindingly white. And it was, in historical terms, very important. It formed one of the villages which were the frontier towns in the wars between the Moors and the Spanish Catholics in the Middle Ages. And so it's got castles, it's got ruins, it's got history. The resort is just outside. It's in the mountains, the Sierras. It's got beautiful wildlife, trees, foliage. It's in about 150 acres of land. So I think you'll love it. It's easy to get to. It's an hour from Gibraltar. You've got the combination of the beach, the village, and very close to towns like Ronda and Sevilla and Granada and all these amazing places. The wine's good, trust me. Food's good. People are wonderful. So I think you'll like it. I'm very pleased with it. We're also doing a project with UCLA. I've been invited to go back and teach there again. And the project I chose was to take the students to Garcin and design an add-on to it in the forest, which is an eco-resort with tents, tree houses, observation domes, observatories, all sustainable, all very natural. And so we're going to have these very smart students from the graduate school at UCLA working with us to design what I think will be a very nice project. And so I'm quite personally involved in this, and I think it's going to be very good. Elsewhere in India, as you may know, we have a new resort in Jaisalmer, which also is quite natural. It's a safari camp out in the desert, in the Thar Desert, which is just outside Jaisalmer. It's a collection of tents and hard construction as well. And it's a magnificent place. You've got sand dunes and you can go out on camel safaris and you can do all sorts of things which are very, very unique. And so I think it fits into our profile very well of providing entertainment and experiences and something a bit different. And of course, what is very good about it is that you can combine it with the other Rajasthani resorts that we have in Jaipur and Udaipur. And it has always been my vision to create a bit of a road trip. And we're going to buy some ambassadors and have some chauffeurs. And so if you wish to spend a little bit more time, you can spend a few days in Udaipur. You could go by car to Jaipur. You could go by car to Jaisalmer and get a real Indian experience. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And expect some more. There's 2 more where we have letters of intent. One involves some of the best scuba diving in the world, and one involves a very famous archaeological site that I think you all know. And another one is, well, I don't want to tell you too much, but it's a floating resort. But expect to hear more soon. As I said at the outset of this, I'm very bullish. I'm very keen on acquiring more resorts. We're now up to 36 resorts, which we have, I can't say open, but bricks and mortar able to be open. We have 8 under development. So we have 44 resorts, which I have to pinch myself when I see that number sometimes. And I've got my eye on the 50. So I think 6 more coming quite soon would be amusing. What else is happening in our world? Well, I was down at Preverger recently and my family holiday got cut short because after 3 days or 4 days, we were evacuated by the firemen. It was a very frightening experience. A friend of mine who was with us has written about it in this magazine. We were caught in the forest fires and they got within 200 meters of us. I haven't been involved in a forest fire before. I've been in earthquakes and tsunamis and eruptions, but it's my first forest fire. And as I said, it was pretty scary. We got moved out. The house is okay, luckily. It was the wind changing direction which saved us. But what I was unbelievably impressed about is the firemen and the fire service. The expertise, the skill, the dedication, the bravery, blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. I've always had respect for them, but having had this experience, it was very special. Most of them are volunteers, and I know it's the same in Australia. Most of the Australian firefighters are volunteers. And my God, they do a good job. I don't know what we would do without them, whether it be the planes that drop all the water or the firemen that get out there in the forest and chop down trees. So we'll be looking at how we could work with the Pompiers, the firemen, quite a lot to support them and help them. So really a huge thanks to them because I think they really did save Preverger. Talking of Preverger, what I want to do with it is, we did do this once before and it was very successful. We're going to turn it into what we call a pop-up resort, which means that for 2 months each year, starting in October this year, for October and November this year, we'll make it available to you, to our members, on a room-by-room basis. And so we'll have a staff in there, and we'll have a cooks in there, and we'll have cleaning staff, and it'll be run like a resort, except we've got 18 bedrooms, so we could probably populate it with 16 clients. And I want to give it to you, I won't say free, but pretty much on top of your normal usage rights. Really is a way of saying thank you for your loyalty, and thank you for being so supportive of us during this troubled times. What I anticipate happening is that this year, it'll mostly be utilized, I guess, by Europeans who can get there. And next year, we'll prioritize people from the other side of the world who can't get there, whether that be Southeast Asians or Australians or Indians or whatever. And so you'll go top of the list and we'll take reservations now. So if you'd like to go to Preverger and you'd like to go to the south of France and you'd like to stay in this magnificent property, which was obviously Laura Ashley had and John Moreau before that, please talk to our people and we'll try and slot you in on a space available basis. But I think you'll have a great time, and I think that'll be a wonderful experience. So we'll hear more on it, and I'm sure my people will reach out to you with all the relevant details that will happen, obviously, as we go along there. The summer for us, where we have been open, has been very strong. I mean, we're operating at 97% occupancy in several places, and it really is, again, a endorsement of what we said all along, that when resorts are open, when people can travel, they will, and are very keen to get out there. And I do believe passionately that that's going to be what happens. I think in Europe, we're seeing opening up, and it's because of the vaccine. I think the same will happen in Australia. The same will happen in India and Southeast Asia and Indonesia. I think that the worst is behind us. I think that we are learning to cope with this in many territories. There will be speed bumps, of course. I mean, there's going to be new variants. There's going to be new hiccups. But generally, I think it's positive. It's moving forward. We as a company are growing. We're adding more resorts. We're adding more products. Our Karma Club product is doing very well. And I'm very, 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 as I've said all along, immensely conscious of the loyalty of you, our members, our clients, our friends, our supporters. And I do think as a team, we've battled this extremely effectively. Another very exciting project that we're working on at the moment is involved with this play Dante, or I shouldn't say play, a recitation of his cantos in Florence. As you may know, Dante was one of the most famous medieval writers alongside Shakespeare and Chaucer, and he died 700 years ago in Florence, or 700 years in about 10 days in Florence. And a production company has put together a performance over 24 hours, which starts on the Monday at 7 o'clock and finishes on the Tuesday at 7 o'clock in Florence, which recites his entire cantos over his life. And they've got some very famous actors and actresses. They've got Helen Mirren, they've got Rupert Everett, Ralph Fiennes, and a whole raft of other people. Some are live and some are recorded, and they've got various special effects. And we were very proud to be approached and asked if we want to be involved. And we do, and we have. And so we're sponsoring it. We're putting the actors up at Borgo de Collioli, our resort down there. And the charity that it's for is also very close to my heart. It's for refugees. And it's not just about helping refugees in terms of giving them clothing or whatever, but it's about putting them into society, teach them Italian in this case, trying to get them jobs and make them worthwhile citizens rather than necessarily just being a charity case, which I think is the right way to go. So we're pleased to be involved. I'm going to go down there myself. And we're doing on London, we're doing a live screening at Karma Sanctum. And any of you who'd like to come along, please do. It'll be a chance also to try our wine and meet some of our people and have some gin and tonics. So we'll do a live screening in London and I'll go down. And if any of you are in Italy, please, 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 please come along. I think it'll be quite a magical experience. It'll be candlelit in the church. And I probably won't stay 24 hours. I'll probably stay an hour or so and then have a good dinner and then go back the next day and see a bit and have a good lunch and then come back later because much as I love Dante, I think 24 hours might be a little bit too much. But it's a great way to mark his 700th anniversary of passing away, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. And as I say, there's some tremendously good actors and actresses there, so I'm looking forward to that. So move on to the toast. Clearly, what are we going to toast today? Well, the wine, first of all, is ours. This is the Karma Beaujolais. Comes from Cherbourg. For those that don't know about Beaujolais, a quick little sort of 5-second sort of history. Beaujolais is a region. It's south of Burgundy, north of Lyon in France. The grape is Gamay, so I find it very light. It's quite an easy drinking wine. In Beaujolais, if a label just says Beaujolais, it can come from anywhere in the region. The wine can come from anywhere. If it's Beaujolais Village, and it says that, it means it comes from certain villages which are a higher quality wine than just anywhere. And if it has a name, in this case, Cherbourg, like Fleury, like Morgon, like Moulin au Vent, Breuilly, these are all from specific villages, for specific terroir, which are of a higher quality. Our one, Cherbourg, it's quite rare. It's quite a high vineyard area. I like it a lot. There's a vineyard there that we know very well, and they've worked with us to produce this wonderful wine, which we're going to be offering our resorts at a very good price. One of my goals has been to have wine at a cheap price. As I've told you before, I love wine, and I get very pissed off sometimes that hotels charge far more than they should for wine. I know you'll criticize me for that, but we do try not to. And the purpose of making it ourselves is that we can sell it at maybe £18 a bottle or £19 a bottle or whatever the hotel is doing. And we can sell it by the glass at £3 or whatever. So we really can have a quality wine, not a rubbish house wine, but a quality wine at a good price. And so that's what I'm trying to do, to create a range of wines that we can do that with. Okay, well, really, to be honest with you, the toast I really want to do is to the Pompiers, to the firemen of France, the firemen of Australia, these unbelievably brave people who do it part-time, don't really earn any money out of it, often don't get any praise. They risk their lives, and I don't know what we would do on this planet without firemen. And over the next few years with global warming, I fear we are going to be more and more and more dependent on them and their skill and expertise. So thank you. Thank you for the specific ones that saved us in France. And thank you all over the world for the wonderful work that you do. It's appreciated. Cheers.